Armando, I have a question. They used to play home field in the playoffs during the All-Star before. Do you like it when they do, or you don't like it that way?
I think I do like it because they actually play. The managers manage the game to win. The players actually win, especially if you know that you're in a playoff contention.
Yes.
So I do like it when there's something on the line.
Oh, breaking news.
What
We have
happened?
breaking news.
Here we go again with the plus minus thing.
And you beat me to it. I was like, oh, shit. We're
you have
totally
to you
gonna.
have to be quick. You have to be quick. In game real time, it's hard to like make that same thing call 100%. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Saturday Sliders. Today is Saturday, July 20th. I'm Almar and I have Armando right beside me. And let's talk baseball.
Let's get started because it was a busy week in baseball. Let's go to around the bases. Let's start, Omar, with the All Star game review with the home run derby, the game. What stood out to you? What's your review of the All Star weekend
Well,
or
let's
week?
talk about the All Star game itself. It was awesome. And we get to see fireballers like Paul Skeen, Mason Miller, and we get to see why Shohei is getting paid $700 billion, right? Show loves the spotlight. Boy, did he ever crash that ball. And but AL is still leading the series against NL 48-42. 48-44 and 2. So winners of two straight. Armando, I have a question. They used to play home field in the playoffs during the All-Star before. Do you like it when they do, or you don't like it that way?
Oh, that's a good question. I will have to say that I do like it because when you look at all the All Star games and every other respectively a sport, the All Star game has become more exhibition game, more of just kind of like a day a day off. There's like like the NFL Pro Bowl, the basketball really. There's the All Star games getting worse and worse, right? So baseball, uh, they still compete, right? But we
Yep.
don't want to lose that momentum, right? So I think I do like it because they actually play. The managers manage the game to win. The players actually win, especially if you know that you're in a playoff contention.
Yes.
So I do like it when there's something on the line.
Yep.
And either is putting that rule back on, like whoever wins the All Star game gets home field advantage, or they get more of a bigger um, pay increase for going to the All Star, right? For the players to, right? So I actually like it.
Yeah, I like it better when they were competing for that home field advantage. I know it kind of when your team is up there having a monumental season, and you want that home field advantage in the World Series, and you don't get it because you lost the All Star
Yeah.
All
So
Star game.
I like it. So
Yeah, and the new format for the home run derby, I like it. I like it too. It did not disappoint. The timeout really helps the batters take a breather. I saw that with the Oscar. I saw that with Bomb. Bomb was awesome in the opening round.
yes,
You saw that the Oscar and Bomb needed a hit off to go to the
yes, it did.
finals. Yeah,
Well,
I
it kind of had that feel of like the old format, the old school home run derby, right? Especially when you get the bonus round for the if you hit it like 400 and something,
yes.
right? Because you get extra three pitches and there was no time limit. That kind of remind me of the old school home run derby, right? So I kind of like it. It brought good memories. I prefer the old format of just kind of like 10 outs,
Oh yeah.
right? Like home run derby. Before they were hitting like 60 home runs in the home run derby, right? Like I kind of like, oh, whoever got 15 home runs was good enough to win, right?
That's
But
true.
you appreciate more of the the home run, right? So
Yeah.
instead of this like quick swings, right? So but so I did have a good memory of this newer format.
Yep, I'm not sure if they're still donating to charities. I think they still do, but I
Yeah, they
didn't.
do. Yep.
Yeah, so yeah, because I remember the old format when you have the golden ball. So
Yes.
when they hit the golden ball,
The
it
money ball.
1,000, yeah,
Yeah.
1,000 goes to the charities, right? So I like that format, like the old ones.
Yeah.
Um, for the Oscars, great for the Oscar to be the first winner ever for Dodgers. Can you
Yeah.
imagine
That's a
that
that's an
first ever Dodger to win a
Yeah,
home run
Hernandez
derby?
actually went it. So that is actually kind of surprising with all
Ye-
the stars the Dodgers have had through their lifetime that they have never had a winner. So,
Yeah, mm-hmm.
but
Great,
what do
great
you?
for the Oscar.
Yeah, but what do you think of like how can we don't see the big names in the home run derby? Like why we're not seeing Judge, Shohei in the home run
Well,
derby?
we talked about this in our previous episodes, right? Sometimes, like most of the time, you change your swing patterns during the home run derby, right? We saw that with Vlad. He
Yeah,
won last year, and he was struggling for the first part of the season because you changed that swing, right? So I. I can understand why George and Shohei doesn't want to join, and Vlad didn't join this year too, so I can understand why they don't want to join, right?
right. But it's kind of like we need the fans. Fans want to see the stars, right? They
Yeah.
want to see. And maybe the new format is not really working. Maybe if we tweak it to go back to the old format of the 90s or early 2000 or even 80s, that we not a lot of swings, right? So because you did see Ken Griffey Jr., Barry Bonds, Mark Wire, you saw them on the every year participated, right? Because it didn't affect their swings,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
right? So it was more relaxed. But now this new format has a lot of pitchers, but I would like to see Judge in the home run derby. You
Mm-hmm. That's
imagine Judge in Shohei in the finals or something, right? So
I know. Yeah. It'll draw a lot. It'll draw a lot of crowds, right?
right, so
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see that happen. So, but yes, obviously there's a lot of there's definitely was a curse for a while that winners of the home run derby the second half it was a failure because they
Yeah.
lost their swing, right? So
That's
there
true.
is that
Yeah.
fear. And
Yeah,
so
I think the old format is like a live BP anyway, so it was better for the hitters, right? Like the olden format. It's that like it's not timed. It's just like they throw if you like the pitch, you just swing at it, right? But this time there's like a time limit. Like but yes, you can still take a breather, but there's a time, right? So
right. So, to me, let's go another topic. That there was actually kind of there was a lot of noise on Wednesday and Tuesday. I was kind of like I was looking at the game and I was like, wow, those are pretty ugly All Star uniforms. And on Wednesday, all baseball media was talking about the uniform. Like, what's your take on the uniforms?
the uniforms, they just throw that in the garbage, man. Just throw that in the garbage. That I heard that too. I saw that they're planning to have their team uniforms next season. Just go back to it. I
Yeah,
don't
just
like
go back.
I
Like
know.
I didn't mind either. Like the home team, whoever hosts the All Star, it was kind of like a replica of the uniforms. Like of that teams,
Yeah.
right? So like, but this Texas Rangers, there was nothing about Rangers and those Connect uniforms or whatever it
I
was.
think they're
So
just, yeah, I think they're just trying to to sell to sell like the to sell all-star gears, but I'm
yeah,
not buying one of those, man.
no, like I like I'm the same way. I actually like the old school like of the because sometimes you don't know which player plays for who, right? So like
Yeah.
when you see the that player's team, like the Giants or whatever, the Blue Jays, you see like, oh, that player plays for that team. We're like, oh, who is he? What kind of season he's having, right? So there's a you can definitely uh, distinguish each player, right? But with
Yeah.
this kind of uniforms, kind of blends in. It's like, what is this?
That's you actually made a good point on that one because like smaller market teams because they want each a player in the all-star in all the teams, right? So if they come in a lower market like let's say Rockies, you won't know that the guy is
Yeah,
playing for the
exactly.
Rockies, right? So yeah, good
So
point on that one.
yeah, I kind of like the old school uniforms. Because you're representing your team, right? You when you go to the
Correct.
All Star, you're representing your team, your organization, or the city, right? So
Yeah, just have an all-star logo on the
yeah, well, they
crest,
did
right?
go
Yeah.
to right, like they did when because they was kind of like the National League, um, or the American League. There was kind of like it would say American League or National League on their, but then they on the sleeves they will have like the you actually team, right? So
Yeah.
you can say, but
Mhm.
they have this year they have completely gone away with it. So it's like
Yeah,
so like, and yes, I heard that too. There's just it's a marketing. They're just trying to sell
that's true.
merchandise, but it's kind of like, yeah, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying
I'm not spending $150 on that one.
it. Uh, well, to me, what stood out to me the most is other than the dominance that the American League has, the National League, they have won 11 out of the last 12 or something like that. But I think the biggest thing was actually Mason Miller against Judge. Um, just the pitch sequence by Miller was it was a thing of art. Four pitches, strikeout.
That was against Shohei, right? That was against
No, that
Shohei.
was against Judge.
No, Mason Miller is from AL, right?
Yes. Oh, that was short. Against short. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
Show, yeah, against Show,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
Yes, that is correct. Against
Get your hitters right, bro.
you're correct. It was against Shohei,
Yeah,
and it was just it was a thing of beauty. Four pitches. First pitch, it was 100 miles per hour. Uh, Bottom of the strike zone gets the call. Second one, it was just a slider out of the zone just to Fulham, and then goes back to the it goes back to the fastball, and then he goes back to the slider. Show his swings and misses. It was a thing of beauty. I like that. That's what stood out to me the most in of the All Star.
was that at bat the one that he got clocked for 104 miles an hour? Because
Yes, it was.
I think Mason Miller clocked 104 miles an hour. Wow, holy.
Yeah. So I think that's what I like. It's kind of like you want to see the best against the best right there. So that's what the All Star is about,
That's true. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
right? So all right, so that's it for the All Star. Like I said, it was a busy week in baseball, and we also had that um, the 2024 draft, Major League Baseball draft. I'm not sure if you picked up, if you follow it, Almar, but the first overall pick, it's from a player from Travis Bonanza from Oregon, Oregon State, second baseman. Pretty cool story. He was actually a walk-on. He's from Sydney, Australia, and a second baseman as the first to go first overall is pretty impressive. So, what is do you have any thoughts
Yep.
on this?
Yeah, when we were talking about this all throughout the week when we're trying to like make a schedule for it, few key notes from this year's draft as we do not want to break down each team's draft,
No,
right?
no.
It'll take us forever to do that. Like you said, Guardians got the best pure hitter available as per reports from MLB.com. That's they took second baseman Travis Bazana and Reds had a great draft as well, as their first six selections ranked 77th or better on the draft top
Wow.
250. Yeah, and I like the Ace draft too. They got Wake Forest first baseman,
Yes.
Nick Kurtz at number four,
Correct.
and he will be groomed to be a superstar, only to be traded 2 years after. Can you stop doing this, Oakland A's of Sacramento of Las Vegas? Come
Yeah.
on.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, but I like their job of Nick Kurtz.
Correct. I think I think it's also Manny Ramirez and Big Papi's sons got selected,
Oh,
got
did
picked
they?
up. Yeah,
Oh,
both
that's
of them
great.
in
Yeah.
the 17, 18 rounds. So it's later, but it's still pretty cool to
Yeah.
see that like a new generation of baseball players are being, and that kind of makes me feel old. It's kind of like holy cow, like their sons are being drafted now. It's kind of like
That's true.
that's pretty crazy, right? So is Manny Ramirez still playing overseas? And Taiwan
It's probably China or Taiwan.
is he still pitching? That's pretty funny.
I think Dodgers is still paying him, right?
Yeah, I think they are. Yeah, like
Yeah,
it's
I haven't checked that one.
so. I think for the Giants update for the draft, they didn't have a second or third selection because of the Matt Chapman and Blake Snell's pickups. But they actually picked up. I think the first they went power hitters. They drafted a lot of outfielders, and mostly because of the big bat.
Yeah.
So the the first round pick it was a player from Florida State, and the second one is from Mississippi State, Jordan. But they all both are power hitters. Dakota Jordan from Mississippi. A lot of people are saying that that's actually the steal of the draft, and they can't believe that he went in the fourth round. That he was
Oh,
still available in the fourth round. So a lot of people are saying like, "Whoa, Giants must." That's what the reports are saying. Like it's kind of like, "Whoa, like them Giants got the best steal of the draft." So it's pretty. He has a lot of home runs, so that's pretty much what the Giants need right now. They need
power bats.
offense. They need a big bat. Like as we
Yeah.
talked last week, what are the Giants need? They need a bat,
Yeah.
and that's actually what they drafted this week. They selected a lot of outfielder, which is mostly what the Giants. Every draft is always pitchers. Like they always go heavy on pitchers, and this year they kind of changed it and they went for offense. So that's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah,
Um,
same thing with the Jays. There's no surprises that the first three rounds they got starting pitchers. I like this first round pick, Trey Savage. The name itself is Savage, right? So
right.
yeah, number 11 in MLB's pipeline of 250. Hey, that's good. I like this pick from the Jays. So yeah,
That's
we'll
awesome.
see. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll see. Obviously, they're just they are um we never know, right? Like
Yeah,
sometimes like early round players don't turn out, and it's the late rounds, the 15 to 20 rounds that like, there's just a diamond in the rough that just
that's
needs to
true.
be polished, needs to a little tweaking here and there, and that's why and they show up to the majors, right? So, but it's there's just a lot of potential, and it's always exciting to see new talent come, right? So all
Yeah,
the best for all the selections, and so and like Tom Brady said, this is just the beginning.
that's true. Yeah.
And so
Congratulations to all the
yeah,
draft picks. Yeah.
correct. And let's go. Major League Baseball announced a 2025 season schedule, and and we're having a Tokyo series back. The Dodgers are going back to Asia to play, and they're playing against the Cubs. It was released. What's your thoughts on the season, the releasing of the schedule for next year?
Yeah, like you mentioned, Tokyo series on March 18 and 19, Dodgers and the Cubs. This is how you market your league, right? Two of the
Yes,
biggest Japanese players playing in Tokyo, Shohei Otani and rookie Shota Imanaga. That's
correct.
great for baseball. And opening day, AL East clash right off the bat, Orioles and Jays. And some keynotes here, May 16 to 18 is rivalry week. Subway Series, Yankees and the Mets is always classic. Southsiders versus the Northsiders in
Yeah.
Chicago. And then All Star is in Atlanta next year. So that's great. those are some key notes that I saw with the schedules.
That's awesome. And this is why a lot of people why they were wondering like, well, why are they releasing the schedule like this week? Like this like makes no sense for like we're still in the middle of this season, right? But
Yeah,
this is why you do it. This is
yeah,
why because it's an off week. There's no other sports going on. You do it and you get all the headlines, right?
that's true.
And that's how you market Tokyo Series because there's a lot of Asian players on both teams, so that's how
That's
you
true.
market it, right? And also, um, well, guess what? Next July, the Giants are in Toronto.
Oh, are they? Let's
Yeah.
go. Let's go.
Guess what? That's why because you start looking at the vacation like, oh, where you want to follow your team or you want to go maybe a vacation and maybe like, oh, now I'm kind of thinking like, oh, maybe we should go as a family summer break, go to Toronto and
Yeah,
catch the games, the Giants. And
yeah.
so this is
Armando's
why you do
paying.
it.
Armando's paying.
Yeah, exactly. I'll buy you a dog, a hot dog. But do
Yeah,
the
we'll
nine
go
inning challenge.
dollar dogs.
Yeah, totally dogs. Did they have it?
I think it's $2 hot dogs on Tuesdays. I think for
Oh
Rogers
man,
Placer.
they do play during the week, in the middle of the week. Let's go.
Yeah, we'll plan it. We'll plan it. I didn't even see that schedule that Giants is in Toronto. That's great.
Yeah, so this is why you release the schedule. So this kind of
Yeah.
stuff fans can start making their summer trips and maybe catch a little baseball. But also the Giants once again they start the season on the road. I think this is kind of like the seventh consecutive year that the Giants start, and the Giants do that because they want to have the last game, the last series of the season at home. So
Oh,
this
okay.
um, it kind of piss off a lot. Some Giants fans don't like it, but it's kind of like I don't know what's best, like to start at home or for opening day opening day, or you end the season at home.
I like it better when you end your season at home, especially when you're in a tight playoff
Exactly.
race.
That's
It
exactly.
makes a big it makes a
So
huge difference actually.
so exactly, especially if you're playing against a rival, division rival that you need to kind of beat to get into the playoffs or to be competitive, right? So because division games are a lot tougher than
Yeah.
just facing somebody kind of like a non-division, right? So yeah, so that's my point. My take on the
Yeah,
on
I just opened it up right now. Murderers row for Toronto next year. Holy Baltimore opening with Orioles, then 3 game set against Washington, and then they see Mets, Red Sox, Baltimore, Atlanta, Seattle, then Houston, and then they end their March and April with New York Yankees. Good luck, eh?
rebuild. Just kidding.
Start
No.
the season 0-30.
Yeah, that's funny. Anyways, it's pretty exciting. Definitely. So it's already looking like a fun net season already, right? So
Yeah.
all right, and let's our following topic is did you hear Shohei Thomas comments this week saying that um it's either World Series or it will be a failure of a season for the Dodgers?
I actually didn't hear that actual comment. You just mentioned it to me, but I hope it's a bust. But to be honest, any team who makes a big splash in the offseason like the Dodgers did this year, it's a World Series or bust. Is it a failed season? Not particularly, but if
That's
you spend but if you spend 700 bill on a player, the expectation is always World Series, right?
that is actually correct. You very good valid point, right? So, and especially obviously Shohei is putting it on his shoulders. This is his first playoff run that he's making, right? So they're in first place. So it's on uncharted waters for him. But I think he's putting too much on his pressure. The fact is that we don't know the timeline of Mookie Betts.
Yeah,
We don't know the timeline of Kershaw or even uh, Tyler
th-
Gossman. I think he's hurt as well. So the fact is, like, it's I understand why the competitive nature that he's saying it's a World Series, but he should know that one player does cannot, and especially in baseball, one player cannot make the difference. He was in the Angels for 7 years. He tried to do it himself. He couldn't get the Angels to the playoff. And so I think he's putting too much pressure on himself.
yeah. We know that Shohei will show up in the playoffs. That's not a
Yeah,
question. But if you add added pressure on yourself, it's just you're just asking for a disaster, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's my take on that. Obviously, Shohei is having a tremendous season, right? So, but I think he should. Obviously, no, like you always want to compete for the World Series, right?
Yeah,
Um, but also he needs the rest of the team to come back healthy
that's true. Yeah.
to make a deep run, right? So, and Omar, let's end our conversation with the Hall of Fame inductee ceremony happening this weekend. We have four players going in. We have Andrew Beltran, Joe Mauer, Todd Helton, and Coach Jim Langland. What is what's your thoughts on those four inductees,
Well,
class of
first
2024?
first and foremost, congratulations to all the inductees: Adrian Beltre, Joe Mauer, Todd Helton, and Jim Leland. And Adrian Beltre, Joe Mauer, everyone knew they're a shoe in, right? Todd Helton, this is not a knock on Helton's career. He was great with the Rockies, but to see Carlos Delgado not be able to get second chance with almost identical numbers as Helton bugs me.
Yeah.
This is from baseballreference.com. King Carlos
Yes.
had 2,038 hits, 473 home runs, and 1,512 RBIs with a 280 batting average. So, like I said, it's almost identical numbers with Todd Helton, and I don't get why he's not in. And other players of our era, Gary Sheffield, Manny Ramirez, Alex Rodriguez, Bon Sosa. Steroids or not, they shaped the game of baseball in the 90s and 2000s. And my question is there an actual criteria or are they just basing it off of bias sometimes?
Yeah, like, well, let's.
Don't get too mad. Don't get too mad. We know we're
Obviously,
pissed.
I have my own feelings. The Hall of Fame. It's more of a political agenda with baseball voters, and yeah. So, but I feel the same thing. I think that of that list, I think Todd Halton stands out the most. It's kind of like I was like, I don't know. Like, there's a lot. I'm pretty sure there's other players who are waiting for a call who have won World Series and have the same numbers than Todd Helton. Yes, he was great for the Rockets for a lot of years, and I saw them playing against the Giants. But like, he didn't win a World Series, right? So it's kind of like, but this is no knock, right? So,
Yeah.
but I do like the Bertrand and Joe Mauer first time, first time, right, being in the
Yeah,
ballot,
first ballot Hall of Fame, yeah.
and they got most votes for any first time, so it's kind of like, yeah, like good for them, right? So,
Yeah.
and I think what I like the most about Adrian Beltran and Joe Mauer is that they did everything right in their careers, right? They
Yeah.
didn't. They loved the game. They were there for the fans. They were true professionals on the field and outside. They were family people. They were great for the community. They were respectful community. So they actually were actually very respectful players, right? So
Yeah.
like by the
Hmm.
fans and their peers and just by baseball fans around the world. So good for them. I'm happy for them, but definitely my stance on the Hall of Fame. it's no knock on those two players because uh, they did it right.
Yeah,
So yes, there's some questions about because I think like, well, what about Torrey Hunter,
that's
right?
true.
Right. So like, he was a great, exciting player, right? So
9-time Gold Glove.
yeah, so there's some definitely different players. So and I like Jim Leland. He pitched for the Marlins. He was a World Series champion for the Marlins as a coach. He he also was a coach for the Pittsburgh Pirates, Colorado Rockies, and obviously he had a great run with the Detroit Tigers. He
That's
had a lot of
true.
playoff runs. He went to a World Series with them. He coached a lot of dominant players. Obviously, he didn't win the World Series with Detroit, but he knocked on the door quite a bit. And
Yeah.
so I'm happy for him. Yeah, he was he's been in baseball for a lot of years. So
Yeah,
I'm
was he the bench boss when Scherzer and Verlander was there and Rick Porcello? I think
yeah,
yeah, I think he was yeah. Mm.
yeah. So exactly. So I'm happy for him, but definitely I have the same stance. Kind of like when Alex Rodriguez, Barry Bonds, Mark McGuire. It's kind of like you just roll your. I roll my eyes. Kind of like like it's kind of hard to get excited when you know that there's other players who are great
Yeah,
goats in their respective position goats. They are not in the Hall of Fame,
that's true.
and it's all because of a bias or political agendas from the voters of the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So there was I definitely don't have the same feeling like when I was younger. I wanted to go to the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York, but now I just don't have that desire to go just because of the so many players are being left out.
Yeah. It's kind of tough right now. It's just like we just don't want to talk bad about the people who actually are voting, right? But I just question what's the actual criteria, right? If there's an
Correct.
actual
Yeah.
criteria, but we don't want we're not saying they're bad people. It's just
No.
like we just want to see like transparency on why they're not voting them, right? Steroids or not. So
Right. So, well, let's end it on a happy note. Let's go with some numbers. Jim Laneland, like I said, 22 seasons coaching, 16 time winning his coach, no, 18 times with 1,769 wins, 1997 World Series champs with the Marlins, three pennant winners, and three times manager of the year. Todd Helton, 369 home runs, 1,400 RBIs, and a batting average of 316. Those numbers are actually really stands out. Joe Meyer. Let me go back. Todd Helton. He actually was a six-time All-Star, three times Gold Glove, and four times Silver Slugger. Joe Meyer. He was at '09 American League MVP, which that was a very impressive, very impressive. I think he was a favorite all year long, and he didn't slow down. I remember the '09 campaign that he had, and he just kind of like he he was just playing like a little All Star game, just like
yeah,
finding a hole. He was just getting hit almost every at bat. So it was
I'll put you on the spot because I saw this. I think this week or a week ago. Joe Mauer or Buster Posey.
uh, play the fifth. No. Buster Posey, right? So he's
Uh,
so
I knew your answer already, but
yeah.
the only stat that's missing on Joe Mauer's legendary career is the World Series. If
Yeah,
he
exactly
had
right.
if he had won a World Series with the Minnesota Twins, then It'll be
They
close
had
with Buster Posey, right? It'll be
Minnesota
close.
had a with Joe Mauer. They had a very deep lineup. Like they were
Yep.
impressive. Like they were close, but just they just couldn't get over the hump. Right. Like, when you get to the playoffs, it's just a different. It's a different season. It's a different animal. So they were close. They were an exciting team to watch. Those Minnesota Twins of the early 2000s.
Yeah, because they had Joe Mauer, Torrey Hunter,
Yeah,
Justin Morneau.
exactly. Justin
Yeah.
Morneau was really good.
Mhm.
So let's go back to Joe Mauer, six-time All-Star, three times Gold Glove, and five-time Silver Slugger Award. He was never known for his power, but he had 143 home runs and 306 batting average, 923 RBIs. And Elgin Beltran, 447 home runs, 1,700 RBIs, four-time All-Star Glove, five-time Gold Glove, four-time Silver Sluggers, and two Platinum Glove. 477 home runs and 1,700 RBIs, 1,500 runs. Pretty impressive with 2,900 games played.
Yeah, by
But
looking at Adrian Beltre, you just didn't realize how good he is defensively at third base,
yes,
eh?
yeah, exactly. At two times a
Platinum.
Glove winner, like that's pretty impressive. So
Yeah.
no, he was really good. Obviously, he got drafted by the Dodgers. He played, and then he went. He had a breakout season. He ended up signing for the Mariners. He had a kind of like disappointing stay at the Mariners, but then when he went to Texas, like he just resurrected his career and had a very good career.
Yeah,
And
he had a subpar in Seattle and
yeah,
Boston, so but when he went to Texas, he got rejuvenated there.
sorry, I thought that was the last segment, but we actually have one more. In the next 2 weeks, there's going to be a lot of trade talks because we're nearing close to the trade deadline. What are you hearing about the trade targets or who's selling, who's buying?
Okay, MLB.com is reporting that Jays are willing to listen to offers for players under team control. This is massive news as last week the reports was the Jays are only willing to listen to offers for players who are rentals. So Vlad Jr. will be hot commodity. He has found his swing lately and any team who will land
Yes,
him will
yes.
have a huge advantage in the playoffs, right?
Correct. And actually, the trade deadline is July 30th, so it's the end of the month. So I'm hearing I what I'm hearing right now is which is so disappointing of the A's, but it's so typical of the A's to do this. But Brent Rooker and Mason Miller are actually listening to uh it trade talks. They're listening, and they're actually not just listening; they're willing to move on from them. And to me, it's just like, why? And they know they're rebuilding, and they just need more of the. They need more of what they have right now. But it's kind of like, to me, like you have two players already to build around, to go to Sacramento, to go to the Las Vegas. But yeah, like they're willing to move on from them to get more in
I
return.
saw
So
I saw that too. I have it on my tab too.
yeah,
We actually talked about this on our previous episodes. Ace trading closer, Mason Miller, and you're reluctant to say to imagine them trading their closer, but we know the Ace will pull this trigger if they get the players they want, right?
correct.
I believe the what I heard is Orioles is looking into Mason Miller because Orioles Achilles heel this season is blowing saves and in tight playoff games, it's a
Right.
recipe for
Oh
failure,
wow,
right? Yeah.
man, lock it in if that happens.
Yeah, so I can see Yankees getting in on Mason Miller just to block the Orioles from landing one of the premier closer in the league, right? It'll be fun. It'll be fun to see.
That's awesome. Well, obviously, the right now the teams that are coming along is the Nationals, the Tigers, the The Marlins, the White Sox, and the A's are kind of like the teams that everybody's kind of like. The rest of the teams are just kind of like being moochers and trying to steal right now. So uh, players that stand out to me is because they're to me it's a little shock because why would they go? But Eric Fedde from the right-hander pitcher from the White Sox. Um, in 19 starts, he has a 2.99 ERA. So, he signed a 2-year contract with the White Sox, but he's on the trade block, and he's kind of been on the trade block all season. So it looks like he's gonna be on the go regardless. Another surprise to me, and this is actually very surprised, is that Jack Flaherty, right-hander pitcher for the Tigers. I don't know what happened. I don't follow the Tigers, but they started very hot. The
Very
Tigers.
good. Yeah.
They were in first place for like the first month of the season, and all of a sudden they have gone downhill, and they are sellers at this trade deadline.
Yeah. Did you see this news too? Dodgers and Orioles are looking into Skubal from the Tigers. This
Yeah.
is huge.
So
Someone lands Skubal on the rotation, and you said Dodgers are reeling right now. Their starting
yeah.
pitchers are injured, and so is Orioles. So this might happen. This might
Right.
happen. The
So
Skubal trade.
right, and Jesse Winker from the outfielder from the Nationals, and Jazz Junior infielder outfielder from the Marlins. So those are the kind of like the big names that they're out there on the trade deadline. I mean,
Did you see the defending World Series champs might be sellers this year? Hey,
really, that would be a
yeah,
shock because
yeah.
they're only in second place on their respective division. So,
Mhm.
but I don't know. I guess I got to look at the standings. But yeah, those are the. We'll see what happens as we get closer in the next 2 weeks. But in the next 2 weeks, the next 9 to 10 games, it's gonna really determine who are sellers and who are buyers. But we'll definitely Saturday sliders will um, be up to date.
Yep.
So that is it for around the bases. If you like this content, please follow, please subscribe, and it will grow our channel up more further. Thank you. Let's get into our Giants and Blue Jays update. For my Giants update, man, there was with no baseball, you have a lot to talk about. And honestly, the whole week, even from the organization, from the media, from the fans, they was like, okay, we knew that pitchers, especially pitchers, coming back from their injuries, it's go time. We've been waiting for the All Star after the All Star. Um, th- so it's go time. It is time to start winning games. Um, they face a 3-game series in Colorado, then they go to LA for a 4-game series, and then they come home for a 3-game series for the Rockies right before the deadline. And they laid an egg last night against the Rockies on Friday. They scored 3 quick runs. We were like, oh, fine, like it's good. Like they're up for it, and they lost 7-3.
Yeah. Go ahead with your Rockies downfall.
Yeah. All right, so our Giants update. Like I was telling you, it is after a All Star break and all season we'll be winning. Okay, Alex Cobb is coming back. Uh, Ruby Gay is coming back. Some utility players are healthy now, so we finally have Blake Snell healthy. Like we're okay. Is the All? This is what we've been waiting all year, and players have to come in ready to go run. And like I said, they have the next 9 games against the Rockies and the Dodgers. The Rockies are one of the worst teams in the league. and the Giants laid an egg last night. Um, Giants go up 3-0. Kyle Harrison is pitching, and it's like, okay, he's looking good, no problems, and all of a sudden it's they lose the game 7-3. Not the start that we wanted. I think everybody, even the players, the organization, the media, were saying like, against the Dodgers and Rockies, anything less than 6-4 series. I mean 6-3. It's just a really disappointing. Like you have to go, you have to beat up on the Rockies. You just have to, right? And in this next 2 weeks against the Rockies and Dodgers, it's going to really determine where the organization goes, either the sellers or buyers. And anything less than 6 wins, if they go 5-4, or like, or even worse, it's like 3-6 or something like that. It's just a very disappointing, and I, yeah, it was a very disappointing. So not the start that we're definitely expecting from from the Giants after the 4 days off, and obviously I think the maybe they it was a little surprising because Kyle Harrison got the start after the break when Blake Snell's, so pretty much all the pitchers have been resting. So why not start Blake Snell's on Friday, and he's pitching on Thursday, um, like Thursday game against the Dodgers, right? So or Webb, right? Why not start him? So I think the Giants were overthinking because they're trying to put their lineup, match the lineups so they can so they can have their top dogs against the Dodgers. And at this point, they're overthinking it because they just laid an egg against the Rockies. So hopefully they have a bounce back week. Um, I mean, they have a bounce back today because if they drop another one or they lose this series, it's pretty much they're sellers. And I think if you listen to the Rockies, I think it really shows who this Giants are team, and they're just not a good team. So if they wanna prove their organization, they're like, no, we're a contending team. We just need a little bit of help. Be buyers. Um, well, they need to prove it. Literally,
Yeah.
that's what they need to prove it. They need to show their organization that they're a good team. But the players that we're hearing is if we're buyers, let me just back up. If we're buyers, it has not stopped. The talks about the Blue Jays has not stopped with the Giants. I'm
Mhm.
not sure if the organization is actually in talk, but every beat writer, every media and outlet in San Francisco, they're talking about the Blue Jays. And normally, when a team comes, like literally those talks stops like the day after they're gone, right? But Giants media has not stopped talking about uh, Boba and Vlad. And we're hearing that Giants are interested in a package deal for Vlad and Boba if the Giants are buyers.
Yeah.
Well, so Giants need a first baseman. They need a bat. It makes sense. Boba, he's having a terrible season. Um, they don't have to give up a lot of prospects, but they need a shortstop who can play, and it kind of makes sense. And obviously, those comments about from Boba didn't help, right? I think he wants to play for the Giants,
Yeah.
so like we'll see what happens. But if they're buyers, those are the teams that they want. They want. Um, so it's kind of interesting that the Blue Jays talk has not stopped for the last 2 weeks. But that is interesting. But if we're sellers, uh, well, let me just go back to Boba. No offense to Blue Jays or Boba, but I think he could be the worst starting shortstop for the league right now, and a full time starter. Like he's having that bad of a season, right? So to me, it's like, well, our platoon system with shortstops, it's pretty much they're better defensively than Bo. Um, I'm not sure if you agree with that, but I just think that I would like Bo, but not at a high prospects level.
Bo for the past 2 years has been good. He can hit for power. He can hit on all fields. But this year, like you said, it'll be tough. It'll be tough for the Blue Jays to get maximum return for Bo Bichette.
Right.
And we know that shortstop is a premium position, right? So,
Correct. That is true. That is
yeah,
true.
so you can get as much as you want for Bo. Jays don't have to because they're under team control, but if they want to, they can, right?
Right. But I think that the only thing about the Giants fans, now as a fan, they don't like that the Vlad is a 1 year rental. If if he wants to, like if the Giants are able to trade for him and sign him, that would be a trade and sign. But like kind of like if we're giving up, especially Vlad, the way he has turned around his season, right, to give up top prospects to just to let him walk away, I was like, I wouldn't like that to see that,
Yeah.
right? So, but that's if they're buyers. If the Giants are sellers, this is the trade rumors that is happening. Estrada, our second baseman, he's on his last year. He'll probably be gone.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Jazz, he'll probably be gone. He's in the line. Michael Conforto, who's kind of like up and down. He has like 11 home runs. If he can pick up in the last 2 weeks to go, we probably could get something in return for him, right? But somebody probably needs big bat in their lineup. So, and the biggest news, just because of the up and down immaturity, our closer Duvall, he's actually there was talks about maybe him being sent down to
Mm,
AAA. He was just an All Star last year, and he had a great rookie campaign. He had like last year he had close to 40 saves. This year he showed a lot of immaturity. As we talked about he doesn't want to go out there on a non-save opportunity. He's giving up big home runs, blowing out leads. Not he's only blown like two saves, but like when you desperately need wins, those two wins are massive, right?
that's
You're
true.
trying
Yeah.
to so like but he's just shown a lot of immaturity, and I think the Giants and it could be also because they were trying to reach new contract for him and during the offseason, and they couldn't come in an agreement with the Giants and Duvall. It could be him. He's just having a um, pity party on the mount because of the contract situation. But the, the Giants are willing to let him go, and he could be a big piece in the trade deadline. He could be if the because he pitches 103 miles per hour. He's proven he's a big time closer. There's there's um there's been this year is kind of an off year, but he's still good. He has 17 saves, so he's not like he's having a terrible year, but he could be like a puzzle piece to get Vlad or something, right? To get him or in a package deal with Vlad and Bo. So um he could be a moving piece. And obviously last week I talked about Blake Snell's, especially like with this, especially his last two starts, dominant. He looked. This is why he was a Cy Young award. This is why he was in the pennant races with the Rays. He looks like his old self, and I'm pretty sure some team will love to have him, especially if you're chasing after a World Series. So moving on from that big contract, that could be. So those are the rumors there the Giants are hearing. So and especially with this young talent finally being able to play in the major league level and contributing and winning, like why keep the older players like Estrada, which I like Estrada. He's a great second baseman. He's a great offensively, but he's having a down year. But with the new talent coming in, it's like yeah, maybe it's time to let the young talent play and get them ready for next year. So which is very disappointing to hear because uh, Giants don't like to hear rebuild because we feel like, well, we're the Giants. We should never be in this situation of a rebuild.
Yeah.
But it could be it. So,
Yeah, and
and
you needed first baseman, so Blue Jays has Justin Turner. You can have him.
I think Giants fans will love that. So, um, yeah. So that's if they're not sellers, if we can't get nothing in return, like I think the biggest question is right now is the pitching rotation. How with Cobb and Ruby being back, like, well, what happens? Do we send Jordan Hicks to the bullpen? Does he become the new closer now? Especially with Duvall having issues. I would like I said, I think I said it last week. I would like a 6-man rotation because Cobb and Gay were going to be in a pitch count anyways. So I would like a 6-man rotation. Like, why not?
Yeah.
And so, but we need, if the Giants are going to be buyers or just staying content, they really need to start winning games. They cannot be dropping games because, yeah, right now they're 4 games back from the last wild card spot. They're in the midst of which 7 teams. But like you need those other teams, 7 other teams to lose when you win, right? So it's kind of like you need to distance yourself.
So yeah, it's tough news for both of us. But I sincerely hope one of our team, and the Giants is more closer than the Jays anyway. So I'm hoping I'll cheer for your Giants.
There you go. Well, that is it for the Giants update. So
Yeah, one of us needs to be happy during our podcast, right?
this team is playing with my emotions, man. I'm telling you.
All right. For your Blue Jays update, first some injury reports. Prospect starting pitcher Ricky Tiedemann will be seeking a second opinion on his throwing arm.
Oh,
And this
that's
is
not
not a
good.
good sign. This
No.
is not a good sign when we see this news, Armando, as it always is a Tommy John injury
Yeah.
coming. And hoping for a better news, but this is an unfortunate news for Tiedemann and the Jays. Another injury, we talked about this yesterday. Joey Votto came in for rehab assignment to Buffalo and tweaked his ankle. It took several months for Votto to recover from his sprained ankle that he rolled during the spring training. Don't get me wrong, I love Votto as a player and as a person, but maybe it's time to hang it up, right, Armando?
Yeah, I think with Votto, like he wants a goodbye scene, right? He wants to like kind of like to ride off the sunset, right? He wants to do, and like in the fans, we want to see that too, right? It's kind of like to talk about another sport, right? Like Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods has not been Tiger Woods since '09 or
Yeah.
'07, right? It's been a long time since Tiger won something, right? So, but and all the injuries and the car accidents and off the golf course life situation that he's never. And people are saying like, why doesn't he retire, right? But it's like he wants fans, players, they want to see that last hurrah from a champion, right? And just see you disappear, like, and that's what those great athletes they want that be retire as a champion, like a good feels situation. But like it comes to a point that you might never get to that.
No. And for baseball, like I get the Ichiros, the Jeters, yeah, those, yeah, you get like a goodbye for from every team. But
Yeah,
don't get me
exactly.
wrong, but Bodo is not on that upper echelon of players. He was great,
Yeah,
but he's not in the Jeter in the Ichiro echelon side, right? So
yeah,
yeah, but yeah, he hopefully he can get in with the Jays, even in the later part of the season, so that he can play for Toronto, his own city, and then
Yeah,
say goodbye to baseball, right?
it might come to a point like because the Giants did this with Sergio Romo and Pablo Sandoval that you might have your goodbye at the last preseason game and a spring training game, right? You're not gonna make the 40-man roster, but maybe your fans can say goodbye to you,
Yeah.
right? So
Mhm.
it might have to come like next year for Votto, maybe for the Reds or Toronto, saying like, well, you're in spring training invitee, but you're not gonna make the roster. But we can you can play. Maybe another team can pick you up. But you at least you can say goodbye to baseball. So
That's
that could
true.
that could be the situation for Bottle. Um, yeah, it took like half a season for him to get to this point and tweaks his ankle on his
Yeah.
first
Mhm.
game, right? So
Yeah. And then as for the Jays on the big league field, back to their norm. The Jays go. They lost to the Tigers in the opening game of the series, 5-4. So after a horrendous start to their season, it is nice to see Vlad and Springer get going on the plate. There were chants of Fire Atkins roaring in the
oh
Rogers Place yesterday. So the lack of planning in this offseason came to bite them in the rear end.
yes,
Not sure if they really went hard for show and did not have any plans, any backup plans. They missed out on
mm,
Soto trade, but this is hindsight anyway, because we're not sure if the Jays can even match what the Yankees gave, right? So, but
right.
even if the best they can do is Justin Turner, when there is a tight window to win, I really do not get the reluctance to go all in this year. So it has been a very frustrating season for the Jays. And you can mirror that with the Giants, right, Armando?
Correct. Very no, that's very true. There was actually not chance because we're on the road, but there was on social media and it. I said I saw a couple posts saying like fire for Hank. Like I think they're feeling the same thing. This has been a disappointing season under for Farhein's tenure. Um, I'm with them. Let's fire. uh, but yeah,
So who goes first? Farhan or Atkins?
I can't speak for the Jays, but I think if they're sellers, if the Giants are sellers, I give Farhine to be let go of his duties um, in the month of August. I think if the Giants let go of Farhine, I can see him kind of like the last month of the season. He won't be there. I think it's
Yeah.
kind of like things kind of like preparing to let him go, kind of like everything set up, right? So I think for the month of September he will not be if the Giants are sellers. If they start selling off, like dumping off salary cap, it's just because of just the way it works, right? So it's kind of cleaning up house. So I think I can see him being gone and being let go in the month of August.
Yeah, because I see some list of general managers that are on hot seats, and Atkins and Farhan was there on that list,
Yeah,
and that's why I ask you. I believe we're on the same page on this one. If your Giants are sellers, then Farhan is gone by the end of the year. I believe Jays, regardless of what happens this year, I think Atkins will be gone by before the start of the season. So they'll wait till the off season to let go of him. That's what I think of, regardless of even if they're miraculously 2% chance
yeah.
of making the postseason. I think Atkins will be gone.
Yeah, so we'll see. Next 2 weeks, the next 8 games, at least for the Giants, they have 8 games left remaining before the trade deadline. So we'll see. But definitely, the Giants don't have any time to. They've been inconsistent, and that's probably why if Farhan is being let go, it's just because of their inconsistent. Um, but this team, like, yeah, it's just they've been up and down, and and they have 8 games to kind of turn around this season. So they're mentally tough, but I think they it's go time. It's the time is right now. So
Yeah, it'll be an interesting episode next week, Armando.
let's go.
You're
So
not too happy about it.
we'll see.
And the Jays are far more worse than your Giants. All you can do
It's
is laugh about it, bro.
it's so weird because the Giants are just they're playing to the level of the opponent, right? They face the Dodgers, they face the Cubs, where they're trying to get the wild card win, the Atlanta, and we just were able to and yeah, we lost the series to Cleveland, but like we were back and forth, very competitive, and then we just faced kind of like the Rockies or the Blue Jays, and
Yeah.
they just kind of like don't show up to that, and it's just kind of like that's the frustrating thing about this Giants team. It's like they're just inconsistent. You see those flashes of like, wow, this is a great team. They're going to be great in the playoffs, and then they laid an egg when they when there's no pressure in a sense, but where there's no expectation. But when you're facing a bottom tier team, you have to beat up on them. You have to beat them up, right?
Yeah, you can't lose to bottom feeders because if the margin of errors is 1-2 games to make the postseason, you just can't lose to the
Yeah,
Jays, to the Rockies, to the Reds. No, you can't.
yeah, and that's I think that's what Giants fans and media have been saying. We cannot be losing to those teams.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting, right? So, but yeah, we'll see. Like in our around the basement segment, like it will be Saturday sliders will be up to date on the all trade talks and
Saturday,
rumors and
Saturday buyers, right?
yeah, Saturday buyers. There you go. Our new name, our new logo.
Oh yeah.
If Giants are sellers,
We're rebranding
yeah,
Saturday sellers.
yeah, perfect. Well, that is it for today's for this week's episode of Saturday Sliders.
We'll see you next week.